It's not structured now. How have we been live for 20 seconds? I hit go live 3 seconds ago. I don't know what everyone has seen. Ryan, we have a very packed show. I had a solid handful of things to talk about, and I thought, Ryan could probably stretch these out for a while. And then Ryan added 96 different things. So we have 99 things to talk about today.
99 things on the pod today, Dave.
Well, I don't.
And Alex Jones is one. You are right, Eve. Alex Jones is one.
Quick rundown, then I'll let Ryan say his notes before we jump into it. Ryan, Tim Pool.
I hate that guy.
Well, listen, he finally put his purse down and found his balls. Vaccines. We're going to talk about vaccines. Romanian judges have officially thrown out the case against the Tate brothers because literally all the evidence was made up. Suicide bombers. I don't know why Ryan wants to talk about suicide bombers. He's wanted to for 2 weeks, and I don't even know why. But I guess we can throw in the suicide drones with it. I don't know if you've seen this.
Oh, I see the drones, David.
Suicide drones.
I've seen the drones.
Department of Government Efficiency makes its first action without even being in power. Also, drones.
Super efficient.
Related. Ryan wants to talk about Chinese drones. Are they better than our drones, Ryan?
Probably not.
Probably not. I don't think so. Alex Jones and something about an airport.
Oh, that's great.
What did he do at an airport? Is he allowed at airports? There's no way he's not on a no-fly list.
David, I'm sure you and I are on no-fly lists.
He's got his own helicopter for a reason. Google supercomputers speaks to multiverses, which is that doesn't even make
craziest shit ever.
I can't even believe I just read that out loud.
Literally the craziest thing ever. It may be the single most important. I mean, we always say this because world's just getting crazier, but that may be one of the most important headlines in human history.
That's an actual acknowledgement that multiverse exists.
Yeah, my science teacher was wrong, David. I asked him what the universe was in 10th grade, and he laughed in my face. And here we are, supercomputers.
We had this conversation. It's in the universe. The universe is the universe.
It doesn't work that way, David. David, my soul is contained in a body, is it not?
At some point, it has to stop, right?
Yeah, yes, you would think. You would think. Nothing can go on forever, David. It would defy physics, I thought.
Well, space is continuously growing, so I guess.
What's it growing in, David? A vacuum?
It doesn't.
A vacuum. There's nothing in the. Sorry.
It's not infinite. It's just ever expanding. It's different. Therefore, it doesn't defy physics.
Infinity is not a real number. We just have the sidewards 8 as a placeholder. But the universe is infinite.
Before we start, Ryan, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Oh, I just want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. This is Dave and I's first pod, I think, through the Christmas week. Normally, we take the last 2 weeks of the year off. But it's a duty to you now that Trump has won. Most importantly, I listened to last week's episode, and I just loved how floored I was at that 200 IQ guy. That just...
That guy kind of rules.
That guy's great. I seen him 2 more times in clips this week, and I just laughed. But yeah, no. Hope everybody has a good Christmas. I'm also sick of happy holidays. Look, when you tell me happy holidays, you know what I say back, David?
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, the holiday I fucking celebrate is Christmas. I don't celebrate Kwanzaa, Ramadan, Shamadan, fucking Hanukkah. It's Merry Christmas. Jesus was real. That's it. I don't know. We're Christian. I don't want to be a triggered Republican, David, but we are a Judeo-Christian country, and we celebrate Christmas. Say Merry Christmas. I don't care if it offends people. We're more worried about offending other cultures, but you don't defend your culture from getting offended. And that's why there's people, Muslims, driving fucking trucks through German Christian markets and killing people with vehicles. So
is that the suicide bomber? Ryan, who is the suicide bomber?
The suicide bomber, I sent you the clip actually last week. I want to talk about it. It's on the Sean Ryan show. And he actually will tie into later this week with the Chinese drones. But yeah, he had a girl on that talked about, basically the dangers of suicide bombers and how us in the States as civilians are not trained adequately to know what to do in those situations. So yeah.
Are they
she says
Are they
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
adequate? Are they adequately changed or trained in other places? How do you train for a suicide bomber?
Well, I mean, we can just start with this now. David, the military, I don't know if you know this, David, but the military has trained extensively to deal with jihadis and Muslim extremists and that part of the world, which, let's be honest, has operated this way for a very long time. This is like a standard operating procedure for some of these cultures. And yeah, it's not offensive. That's fact. That's history. It's fact. They're inbred too, David, right?
That's right.
70% of them, look it up, people. 70% of Pakistanians are inbred. So in this country, what the woman was saying in the Sean Ryan show, I don't know if you can even pull the clip up because I sent it to your Instagram.
Are you saying the Ryan show?
Sean Ryan show.
I was going to say we were almost the Ryan show.
That was our first episode. But she is, I don't know what her credentials were. I'm assuming she's some kind of military, either contractor or she is some kind of somebody. But she's a very intelligent lady. And she talks about how in the States, the thing with suicide bombers is they actually act like they want to be caught. Right? And what that does is it brings all these people in to like go arrest them. And we'd be like, all right, I give up. And then all the people start moving in and then they detonate the vest. And it's a tactic employed and they're trained to do this so that they can inflict the mass amount of casualties and violence and destruction as they can as fast as possible. And the woman was saying that in the States, civilians are not trained to think about this because we are, once again, David, a Judeo-Christian nation that has lots of empathy for foreigners and people that have had it hard, and we are a very forgiving society. That's why you say happy holidays and not happy Christmas, okay? We're very forgiving here. We're actually, I've heard this put that only in America and Western nations can you feel sorry for the past of the country. Most countries, they don't care that they enslave people historically. Most countries don't care that women suffer historically. Most countries, by most countries, David, I mean 99.9% of them, don't care that women are slaves. They've never cared about their past. If you go to China and ask Xi Jinping if he cares about all the atrocities and the rape in Manchuria and all that, they don't. They don't feel sorry. It's only a Western culture thing for you to say the whole happy holidays thing is literally baked into the suicide bomber thing. Because only in this country, in Western worlds, do you feel sorry for 300 years of history and rape and pillage and murders and stuff. Like that even feeling of feeling sorry about your history as a country is a Western idea. It doesn't happen in the East. It doesn't happen in the Middle East. Sure as fuck doesn't happen in Africa. Okay? So when these people that are going to do harm come here and they give up, we think they're being honest. Because in this country, David, you are innocent until proven right. It's just baked into our morals. And then once again, you move in to help this person or arrest him or whatever, they detonate the bomb, and it's to create mass casualties. So I'm not saying what to do. I am not a military expert, David. And I'm not saying you should go train and read Tim Kennedy books to get ready for jihadis. But when you see shit on the internet like that woman was describing, maybe we can have a link or whatever. Like I said, I don't know if you'll be able to pull up the clip, but Sean Ryan had her on. And he was in Iraq, and he is a podcaster now, and he was very adamant. He thought the Iraqi war, when it first happened, was a very noble thing. And then by the end of it, he really questioned why the hell he went over there. And he just, he battled with what a lot of veterans are battling now, that like they went and did unjust things for unjust reasons, even though they were told the opposite. And the whole point saying all this is that in order to be educated, we're told to trust the scientists, David, when it comes to vaccines, but we're not trusting the military members when it comes to foreign invaders into our country. Trump has tasked, I forget that guy's name, but he's a bad motherfucker. The border czar has tasked him to hunt down MS-13 and have the largest deportation in the history of this country, as we should. And that's what you got to bring. These people are very serious. I heard years ago on Alex that some of these extremists that want to harm Western worlds will live in a cave in the desert on a handful of rice for a month and a gallon of water. Okay? That's how serious these people are to come and take your way of life. And if you think when they show up, they see a bunch of fat Americans driving F-150s and they're like, oh, I'm going to get resistance. No, They are here to eat you alive, and they will kill themselves and destroy everything around them just to make you suffer. They hate our country. They hate our way of life. They hate the way that we live. It's baked into them. It is baked into those people that want to harm this country and Western worlds. And I'm tired of playing safe about it. Germany, I referenced, a dude drove through a market of Christians.
Oh, you mean when that car hit a bunch of people? I think that's how it was reported.
Okay? Germany, open border. Germany, for people who don't know, is in between. They're like the middle of Middle Europe, David. That's why all the European civil wars started there that led to world wars. But yeah, this is what I am not going to allow. Like, I don't want to say I'm not going to allow it because there's nothing I can do. We voted for Trump. That's all I can do at this point, other than prepare me and my family and come on our program and try to educate the people that follow us about this. Now, I'm not saying that every Muslim you see or every foreigner you're going to see is going to try to pull a vest out. But with the way that we have gone the last 6, 7, 8 years here and the lackadaisical approach that people have taken to our border, this could be a very real thing. And when you couple that with this drone sighting. Also, David, I don't know how we go from drones to aliens so quick. Like, I really don't. There was that video, as a UFO video. Joe Rogan he reposted it, and it showed. Now, granted, it is a very large object in the sky, and it just blasts away. And you know, we talked about fake alien invasions the other day to brainwash you into thinking that, you know, you got to have a global government, but I don't know how we go from it just being a drone to it being aliens and everybody just accepting it. Like, they're not fucking aliens, people.
I don't think I've seen any form of mainstream push to call it aliens.
Yeah, that's probably true. I don't know. Look, that Sean Ryan guy had it on too. I sent you that clip too, David, but there is a system. I think they call it the Pegasus, or not the Pegasus. It actually has a Greek god name, or it's tied to a Greek myth about shooting arrows. I forget what his name is, but it's basically like like an EMP, but for drones, to shoot drones out of the air with like electric static, and like it literally sends like a pulse wave, and you'll just watch the electronics drop out of the fucking air. So when you couple that, like, Trump came out last week after we, David, once again, as cultural icons, David, we can call it from our living room, people, but they can't. Trump very famously came out last week and said, the military knows where the drones came from and they know where they went, and they should tell everybody. Somebody's lying. They know what happened, because if they were foreign drones, they'd be shot out of the sky. It's literally the same shit Dave and I said. Okay? It's not that we're geniuses.
I was pretty skeptical on the foreign. The only reason I started to think foreign is because everyone said they weren't foreign. And quite frankly, when the government tells me something is, I just think it isn't.
There's only one spy balloon above the country, David. So yeah, and then I guess we might as well go there. China unveil, David, you might actually want to pull up this, just like, you could probably YouTube China reveals drone army. And I also seen a thing that our military has made a fucking MRAP tank, basically, that instead of firing ICB, which is intercontinental ballistic missiles, or some of these missiles that, you know, they can shoot at battlefields to destroy tanks, they actually shoot drones out of the fucking thing, David. And they'll just send endless amounts of drones, and the thing can just keep getting reloaded with drones, and they'll just keep shooting drones into a battlefield. Drone warfare is here, people, okay? The soldiers of the future will be operating and murdering each other through iPads. We already seen them grease the skids in the Ukrainian conflict. It's not a war because they never signed a declaration of war, David. We've seen it in the Ukrainian conflict of them flying suicide drones and exploding and killing Russian soldiers.
I have that right now. I could pull that up. That's, to me...
Yeah, Elon said this years ago. The easiest way to kill everybody is take AI, take all the Face ID data, scan it into a database, and then have attack drones that self-destruct, upload the face, and say, "Go take out this target," and will geo-position to your cell phone and just and blow you up. And we're right here. This is literally it. Look at it. Boom, right in the building.
That is an unmanned object flying into that building.
I would actually love to know how big that thing is.
It's got to be plane size. Look at comparatively to the building. I mean, maybe not like a full blown.
I mean, that looks like
by any means. But
that looks like a
full-size
smaller helicopter.
plane.
I mean, that looks like a decent helicopter size.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you use the context of the size of that building, I mean, that's not a small drone.
You know what's crazy? That literally, boom, that literally looks like the 9/11 World Trade Center explosion. Just at a smaller scale. It was just jet fuel that melted these steel beams, David.
How do you? I guess you could use that EMP. I mean, how do you defend against that, though?
Yeah,
I mean,
what are we going to do? Put EMP launchers on all our buildings across the country? Are we going to just line the shores with EMP fucking?
And that's just one, and I'm sure, you could shoot one down or whatever, but what if you got like 30 of those things coming at you? What do you do?
Yeah, and especially when these drones, right now, these drones, I don't think they're quite AI operated yet, David, but they will be. So like even when they shoot them out of that fucking canister, it's not like you've given them a target. When they launch those things are going to have a mind of their own eventually, and they're going to be able to skirt around all these like an Iron Dome style missile. They may be able to just scoot around that and fucking, bob and weave and have the missile fly off.
Well, this is the controlled by an Xbox controller you always joke about.
Yeah, we're here. We're here. And to go full circle, we could Squid Game this, David. To go full circle, there may come a day that they just tell you that Call of Duty is now the portal for global World War III, and you have to go home and play Call of Duty to beat the Russians. And you're really out there shooting. You're going to be flying a drone, taking out their drone, and we're going to have a little scorecard, see who wins World War III through video games.
Oh, we dominate for sure.
I don't know, dude. The Asians are really good at video games.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not worried about it.
I'm not worried about it either, David. We have fucking tungsten rods hung up in the atmosphere, David, marked at every fucking volcanic eruption on Earth.
Yeah, I do see China investing heavily in its military drone capabilities and has been rapidly expanding. Most modern large scale sizable first world, they're going to have military advancements. They're all going to have very similar military advancements.
The thing I'm really worried about, David, is when they jack these drones up to start dropping like transformers, like RoboCops out of them as they're flying the drone to go blow up. It will be like a drop ship of fucking android robots get dropped off when they're buzzing those other drones overhead. They're basically going to use the drones like the Marines, send the Marines in, and then they're going to drop drones like the Army and have the Army walk in and just fuck everything up. Like, I mean, for in the day and age of people are like, what about gun control and children? Be like, what are we doing to stop a drone from exploding over a school? You're worried about guns. Motherfucker, they got self-AI destructive robots that can fly thousands of miles, can have solar panels, so there's no battery. There's no human to shoot. It could be endless. There could be one guy with a laptop just sending drones to destroy schools and government buildings and everything else across the continental United States. So I think it's the internet connection.
This here says China has a couple drones that can go 4,000 kilometers.
Okay, so that's 8,000 miles.
No, it's not that far.
A kilometer is 2.2 miles, David.
It's the you're backwards.
A mile is longer than a kilometer.
It's like
yes, it is. There's 2.1 kilometers in a mile.
So 4,000 kilometers would be like 2,500 miles.
All right, maybe you're right. Sorry.
You were correct and incorrect at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, a click is a kilometer for people who don't know.
But I think that's interesting because what we were told about the ones over New Jersey, that they couldn't come out of the water because the military didn't have the capability to fly that kind of distance.
Not that we know of, David. Clearly,
from the
sure they would
ocean
never lie
to
to
New
us.
Jersey, which rests upon the ocean.
Oh, there's a shore in New Jersey, David. That's weird. Wasn't Chris Christie on that beach, David, trying to get his McDonald's at one time when he locked it down?
Right after he blocked the bridge. It was just Chris Christie's Uber Eats order. That's all that drones. It's all those drones were.
That Trump post was unreal, dude.
I don't know. Is this better or worse?
Oh, it's way worse. It's way worse. There's hold on. There's rules to engagement.
Yeah.
You know, like NATO, there's fucking inhumane in warfare. You know, like honor. This goes back to knights.
What if you take the humane out of
those things can kill people though. Like it's not like
I get that, but I'm saying at some point, like, are we just robots versus robots?
Yeah, that's right.
Like literally, it's
but
turning
we're
into
not robots, Dave. But we're collateral damage. It don't matter if we're fighting with robots. There's still people and animals and fucking everything else isn't a robot. It doesn't matter. It don't matter if it's battle bots. It's way worse because it is battle bots. Because these things don't have a heart. They don't have a soul. They can't think. It's all calculations. It's not even fucking thinking. It's calculating. It's not even thinking.
They remove the heart and the soul from soldiers.
No, they don't.
And I don't mean
no, they don't.
You got to talk them into it somehow.
They talk them into it by building a team of people that is trained to be murderous. That's how you do that.
I don't mean that as it necessarily as a bad thing, but think of it this way: like if you were to walk up to the average person and tell them to kill the person in front of them, most people aren't going to do it.
I would like to think that, yeah.
So if you were to gather a bunch of people and then say, it's as simple as this sometimes. Listen, that person in front of you, they're the enemy. They're going to kill you if you don't kill them.
Yeah, this is kind of like the whole thing about like when the train's going down the track and you got to switch the train and you either let it kill, you know, like one not guilty person
or one person. Yeah.
Like the guy that's on the track is actually like, you know, not guilty or something. So you either kill him or like 5 guilty people, and then like it's supposed to be this combat of ethics. Yeah, I mean, look. I mean, this is the problem with all the technology we have, is that it actually has no moral software baked into the ones and zeros. Now, I'm not saying that that's even possible, but where between Stephen Hawking and Donald Trump can we figure this the fuck out?
What AI does is it replaces emotion with logic.
There's no logic in a computer, David. It cannot think.
Well, it's completely logic.
It's not logic, David. It's a fucking machine.
Electric
calculator doesn't think, David. It just does 1 + 1.
For example, though, electric cars are set up for situations where it's doing math, and that's what I mean by logic. So instead of killing 2 people on a sidewalk, right, it's gonna kill you in the car.
Okay.
Because mathematically, you are less than 2 people, so it's killing 1 person instead of 2 people. That's the only if that's the only out in a certain situation, it's going to kill you instead of somebody else.
This is iRobot with Will Smith. Literally iRobot with Will Smith.
So that's what I mean.
The robot jumps into the river and saves him instead of the girl because he has a higher chance of living, even though he wanted the robot to save the girl because he has fucking morals and a heart. Yeah, we're watching.
That's exactly right.
We are trading our humanity right now. Like we are in the scope of us becoming the very thing that we're saying we don't want to be, which is a heartless machine. I told you guys, every hashtag you put in that fucking thing is building the supercomputer of the future that's used to control you and destroy you. And here we are. Look at it. That's what Google will get you right there. Bang. That's what Google does. Bang.
Well, I guess we could talk about that. What is this Google? I'm just going to look this up. Google.
Yeah, pull it up and pull up the clip. Rogan talked about it. Not saying that we have to go to Rogan, but I mean, you could pull up mainstream news articles if you want. I just don't know how they will downplay it.
It can. What does it do?
Communicate with the multiverses. Excuse me. And also, the supercomputer chip. Elon was talking about OpenAI and how it's not actually OpenAI right now. For those who don't know, that Google supercomputer chip is privately owned. So I don't want to hear, David, that it's a private company. I don't want to hear it. I don't fucking want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, Buff Mike. It's not a private company. If it's fucking a multiverses, it's fucking God. We built God. We made God. Get over it. It's not a private company. Google says, David.
Says it access parallel universes with its new supercomputer.
Simulation's real, David? Is that what we've come to discover now?
Crazy.
Is that what we're at?
Quantum computing breakthrough on Monday has left the physicist who heads the project a believer in the idea that we live in a multiverse. I'm guessing the computer is called Willow. Willow, the tech giant's new quantum chip, succeeded in solving a computational problem so complex it would have taken today's best supercomputer an estimated 10 septillion years to solve it.
What the fuck septillion mean?
Holy shit.
Is that like 7? Sep? I want to know why it's named Willow after this, to be honest with you. I wonder if the article actually says why it's named Willow, because I'm very curious why they named it Willow. It's got to be something back to like a Greek god or...
Fucking Daily Mail. I'm about to leave. This is horrible.
Yeah, this is privately held. I mean, what Google's got right here is like unfair. If we're talking about monopolies and antitrust laws, this violates every antitrust law that's ever existed. I mean, this one chip makes everybody else obsolete. And it's owned by one person, basically, a private company. Everybody's obsolete. Every billionaire, everybody. All the fucking businesses you see, they're obsolete. But they're going to help us, David. They're going to put the chip in my brain, David, and make me a supercomputer so that I'm rich and I live forever. We're going to splice your genes back together.
Think of how quickly I could solve these complex I could mine Bitcoin in my head, Ryan.
Yeah, David, I can't wait until that supercomputer runs the probabilities of what's easier for me to... I guarantee you that quantum computer is going to tell you to go kill yourself. Google's going to say, well, the only way to save it...
At some point, it's a worthy investment.
100%. David, they actually had to build a nuclear reactor for that fucking thing to even power the shit to operate that thing. I'm sure Google is going to tell you that nuclear is not safe, though.
I can't imagine the heat that thing generates.
That's got to be unbelievable.
About with some pretty insane people is quantum computing.
Oh, yes.
And this new Google quantum computer that can do it, essentially the way a quantum computer works, a problem that would take thousands of years for every computer on Earth.
Can you pause it real quick?
It can solve in a second. Yeah, something that can.
I don't want
to put that on a shirt.
Yeah, I don't want to overmind Rogan. What, all the zeros? I don't want to overmind Rogan here. Well, quantum computer.
It's going to be your face. It's going to say, "Can you pause that real quick?"
Hey, Jamie, can you pull that up? Hey, can you pause that real quick? What kind of quantum computers? I don't know if he's going to say this. Normal computers think in ones and zeros, and from my understanding, quantum computers can think in all digits at all times, all simultaneously. Like binary code is 1 0 1 0 0 1 1 1 1 0 0, and that's binary code. That's how your phone works. That's how computers work. That's how video games work. That's why it's N64, because there was 64 bits of code, and it was 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 for 64 bits. Quantum computer, basically that 1 0 is all numbers at the same time. And it's not only just doing that one and the next one, it's doing all of them all at the same time and all numbers that ever existed.
I think the way it was explained to me is, if you look at the way computers work now on a plane, right? It's flat. It's a flat surface.
Mm-hmm.
And quantum computing basically takes that plane and makes it a square.
A cube. A cube. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It thinks computer code in 3 dimensions. Yes, it thinks all numbers and all values all at once together. There is no separating. There is no it's on and off. It's all together. It's just it works like your brain, right? Like that's basically how your brain works. It's all just plugged in and jacked into each other. This section is plugged into this section. So yeah. There you
Take
go.
more years than you literally can understand. It could be solved in 15 minutes.
Yeah, I read that.
It's insane. And this is where it gets really weird. The way it was explained to me, and we should have to Google how quantum computers work and why people connect them to the multiverse so I don't fuck this up. But the idea is that they're pulling answers from different universes simultaneously. They don't even completely understand how this is working. But the amount of power in computing is incomprehensible.
Yeah.
Like you're only looking at it and there's numbers, you could write all those numbers out, but your brain's not capable of grasping really what's going on. And it's probably the biggest breakthrough technologically in human
Since the
history
atomic bomb.
by a long stretch. And it's all happening without most people even being aware of what the implications are. So see if you can Google
I'm
an
looking.
explanation of how quantum computers work.
Trying to,
Was it
but-
Mark Andreessen that was explaining to us that it's pulling from different universes?
No, that
Who
is
was that?
being talked about in the wording of the Willow description.
Right.
But I also, just to add, when I was reading about this, they said that these benchmark numbers are coming off of Google's own data. Like they're the ones that set like the scale of.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they're lying about that
What?
data
Some
too,
of the
David.
quantum-
They're probably
Are you
underreporting
skeptical?
how great
I'm,
it is.
I'm just
No, you
no
calling bullshit on Google?
no, not at all, not at
I
all,
feel
not
like
at
it
all.
is.
No,
I
I'm
feel
just
like
a
you
grain of salt, like just to say that, like
Come on, trust-
I think they
trust
use
the authorities.
tillions is the
Yeah,
number or something like that.
septillion.
That no one even can grasp that.
Yeah.
Maybe
That's
they're
just based-
over
That's a number based
clocking it
off
as
of
well.
Their formula too.
Right.
That's all.
Right. What is the definition of how it works?
I-
The way it pulls from multi
That's
universe.
I think I'm trying to find it, but I think the understanding I got from it was it's just too powerful to get from our universe alone. You'd have to have more than one, and I don't like that's just
like what does that
But
mean?
I don't-
how
I
do
don't
they
understand.
even
Exactly.
get
What
to
does that
that
mean? Right.
understanding?
What is that thing that they have? And if you ever seen the chip itself is very small.
Yeah.
It's like the size of a saltine cracker.
Yeah.
And then this entire mechanism around it is just the insane amount of cooling. Okay. Google's quantum AI founder said the performance gains lends credence to the idea that we live in a multiverse. The idea is that Willow might be communicating with parallel universes to finish calculations faster. Like what does that mean? The announcement led Google's already high stock price to surge, which isn't that shocking.
How
but
would you
perhaps
draw that
most
conclusion?
surprisingly
That's
for us lay people that
what I don't
Google's
understand.
quantum AI founder and lead Harmut Nevin said that the chip's performance lends credence to the notion that quantum computation occurs in many parallel universes in line with the idea that we live in a multiverse. And then it says, excuse me? This obviously has caused a bit of a stir and it isn't exactly clear on how he made that leap. It sounds a bit like something out of a sci-fi movie, and I'm definitely not going to pretend I'm an expert, but it's worth pointing out that Google is very much still in the theoretical research phase of this journey. This is very weird stuff. An evolving scientific field that even people working on it don't fully understand.
How can you? You're playing with God.
Hours later.
Okay, so this is what it is. One of the world's most advanced classical computers. Okay, here it is with this problem. So AI's founder and lead, Hartmut Nevin, said that the new chip had performed a purposefully complicated exercise called a random circuit sampling benchmark in 5 minutes. One of the world's most advanced classical supercomputers, on the other hand, it would take 10 and then 3 zeros, 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 3 zeros years to perform the same exercise. That's 10 septillion years, which exceeds known time scales and vastly exceeds the age of the universe. So it can do more time time vastly exceeds the entire age of the universe, and it can do it in 5 minutes. And the reason it could achieve such a monumental improvement in calculating capacity is because Willow is made up of 105 qubits and can track the potential of each of those at once, allowing it to record potential data much faster and come to the right answer sooner. So, like, what is happening?
That's too much information.
What do you mean?
I think we can. I think this.
What I don't get, how does that prove the multiverse?
Didn't you forever ago talk about the Chinese government had created a new supercomputer that was like, I don't remember the number, 1 billion times more powerful than I could be wrong about that digit, but it was some absurd number more powerful than the most powerful supercomputers on Earth.
Yep. That was probably right after when we said that China was going to build a fake moon and throw it up in the sky, and then they also were going to build a fake sun on Earth, David, to harness the power of nuclear fission on Earth. And I wonder, David, if they built that fake sun so they could power the fucking computers on it.
I'm sure it was just for fun.
I'm sure they just artificially inflated all their steel and currency to build something that they'll never use, David. Remember that fake nuke scenario we talked about? Also something funny, when they were referencing that number, it reminded me of when Russia was suing Google for like fucking crazy amount of...
Yeah, it's like not even a real number.
Yeah, look, back to Rogan's point about how's this prove that there's a multiverse? It proves there's a multiverse because the chip thinks in a multiverse fashion.
I don't know.
That's not to say that, look, this is me snowballing. This isn't to say that there's actually a multiverse.
No, this is like somebody's opinion. The guy, I think this was the guy at Google. His opinion is it must be, like, I don't know how he drew this conclusion, but because it did it so quickly, it must have used information from multiple universes. Basically, that's my understanding of his take on it.
I seen a video. I don't even know if I could remember what the fuck it would be called. I would have to dig in my phone, and I'm not going to do that right now. But there was a guy I seen. It was a few years ago. I seen it the first time, but it just came across my feed the other day. And they had a chip that was very similar to this, and they called it, like, they thought they talked to Satan. And the chip was so powerful and was so hot, they had to keep the room at absolute zero nearly, which is like, if for people who don't know, like the coldest, it's like when molecules stop moving. We have never achieved it here on Earth. It's impossible for the most case. We get very close, at least from what I remember from science class, David, 10 years ago. We may be able to do it now, but even like liquid nitrogen and sucking things out into a vacuum and all this stuff, I don't think we can get that cold. But the point is the guy was saying that you have to get it so cold that there's almost no like molecular friction happening. Yeah, like nothing at the molecular level. Like literally the atoms, the ions, the electrons and protons are like almost standing still. They're not vibrating.
They're frozen.
Yeah, and the guy said that like they got a frequency, right? And it didn't come from here. That's what like I wish I could fucking remember it, because the guy did like a TED talk on it. He showed the fucking...
You would almost have to like reverse frequency to stop a molecule. You know what I mean? If that's even possible.
What if you match the frequency of the molecule?
Well,
like
that's
Tesla.
Well, yes, but you'd have to reverse it.
I don't know. What I think this multiverse really thing is, we could basically probably equate it to the quantum computer having a creative imagination, right? Loosely.
Could you relate it to us just not understanding it?
Yeah, but David, that's what I mean. Like, you don't understand, like, we don't understand where thoughts come from, right? Like, I mean, I know we're words, but I mean, like, when you get a creative idea or you think of something new that's never been thought of before, like, you know, and I don't want to get too voodoo, but they've written books about this. I always talked about this with you guys, Think and Grow Rich and all this other shit. All these guys, Tesla and Edison, they all believe in the quantum realm. Einstein, now, by believed, that was in the 1900s when they were discovering all this shit, and they're like, some of them called it God and everything else, the divine. And they always said that that's where all their thoughts came from. I've said on this program, I've said in my other creative pursuits, David, you know how I am, like a poetry and a writer and a rapper and all this. I always said that I don't make the shit up. It comes to me. That's just like the way I dumb it down. Be like, even when I do this podcast, David, you know this. Like, yeah, I'm just rambling, but like some of the points I make, it's not like I write them down. Like, I don't know where they come from. I don't think some of the shit I've broken on this podcast becomes true, and I didn't even read the information. So my point in saying all that, that's basically a multiverse. I mean, by extension, your children is a child of yours is the multiverse of you. It's like the same thing. It's a parallel universe, right? Like you're taking your code and splitting it, right? Like you're able to see a different universe of. So maybe this quantum computer, what it really has is just like an expansive. I'm loosely describing this, David, of course, like we always do the layman's way on the show for cultural icons. Maybe it just like has a really good creative imagination that computers never had before. And that's why they think it's a multiverse, because the way the thing is thinking, we're not used to even seeing computers think that way. And I'm assuming that it would almost be very similar. Like, let's say you were to scan Kanye West's brain or Kendrick Lamar's brain when they're developing new songs and writing rap lyrics, or Eminem's, he's real wordy, right? Like that requires so much. Jordan Peterson talks about this, that people with anxiety, like especially when they like move a lot or shake their leg, they burn so many calories just thinking about what they're doing. Like literally, like your brain requires so much calories to think, it's fucking crazy. So when you're creative, you're just burning fuel. And I wonder if you were to look at those people's minds when they're making music, you'd be like, even the most, you could probably plug them into the computer, even the most top scientists and neurological people wouldn't even know what Kanye West's brain is doing. I don't think they know. They don't know how creativity works. They still don't know how imagination works. They still don't know how consciousness works, right? Those are multiverses to us, basically. You know, like there's no edges. Like our creativity, our imagination, our consciousness is the equivalent of space. It's the dark matter of the brain. We know it's there. We know it exists. We can measure it. We can measure consciousness because I'm talking, right? I'm measuring consciousness because I'm awake. I can grab things, but we still can't like put it in a container. We can't describe what consciousness is, right?
I think, yes, but I think you need to be careful that it doesn't become everything we don't understand is the multiverse or is something. You know what I mean? Like it can just be something we don't understand yet.
True, but David, to go further, you know, this quantum computer, there's quantum entangled atoms. Have you heard of this, David?
Yeah.
It's called quantum entanglement. Joe Rogan has covered this, and they took a picture. Pull this up. Quantum entanglement photograph. Atom, like quantum, atom, something like that. Atom quantum entangled photograph or something. And you should pull it up. It should literally look like the yin and yang symbol.
Yeah. Hold on.
Now, this is basically saying quantum mechanics or quantum physics. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about here. I loosely understand it, obviously. But they're basically saying that all matter is all... There you go, right there. That's the first... I think they took this picture this year or last year. It's the first time they've ever taken a picture. Now, tell me how the fuck that looks like the yin and yang symbol, David. Tell me. I'm sure those ancient Chinese people didn't know anything about quantum entanglement.
This is, August 2023 is when this article is written.
Okay, so last year we took a picture of it. Yeah, that literally looks like the yin and yang symbol. Now, what's that basically saying? Those two things there are connected. Even though there's a ridge, you can literally see the ridge in between them that they're not connected. There is a clear division. They each have their own side. And even in those dots, there's a circle outside of them that's getting separated from the space that it's occupying. Okay, these atoms are connected together, and you can take that one atom and drag it to the other end of the universe, and take the other atom and drag it to the other end of the universe. And if you move those atoms, they will still be fucking entangled, no matter the distance. Now, this has always been the back door to scientifically prove that God is real, basically, that everything is connected and we all come from source. And I'm just saying God is like a Christian man, David, but you could go the universe, you could go Mother Nature, whatever. We're all connected. But quantum entanglement proves it, so maybe this quantum computer is literally basically measuring quantum entanglements. Like maybe that thing can see. I'm saying see as in like thinking, I guess, like the computing power would be able to basically think the way that this image looks. Like that, as if it could just like think across time and space and dimensions, and I don't know. I don't know. Captured in real time. See that the red and the green, right? That means that green thing it's basically that green particle is actually from the green particle side, and the red's from the red, but they're connected and they're divided. And Ottawa.
Yeah, that's
Using that analogy of a pair of shoes, the concept of entanglement can be likened to selecting a shoe at random. The moment you identify one shoe, the nature of the other, whether it is the left or the right shoe, is instantly discerned. Regarding of its location in the universe, however, the intruding factor is inherent uncertainty associated with the identification process until the exact moment of observation, meaning that you don't know they're connected, David, until you look at them. And I've heard this with quantum entanglement as well, David, that until you observe that atom, it does something different. So quantum entanglement basically is only happening when we observe the particle that we're trying to look at.
Like they know they're being watched?
Yes, David, exactly. Because they behave differently until you measure them. And we know they behave differently because they've done other scientific experiments, and they have proved that the particles in the universe operate like a wavelength. Like light is a wavelength, literally, we know that. But the particles in the universe operate in a wavelength. And I've seen a thing years ago that they basically shine like these dots, and they send it through like a sheet of paper, and you can see how like the dots change and they scatter all over, even though you would assume they would just dot in a straight line. And I don't know, this is like this is the equivalent of trying to study God right now at a mathematical, scientific, practical level, without the religion. The religion and all these books and all these Buddhist practices and Christian rituals are all the physical way that we try to tap into this quantum entanglement, basically, is what I think. Because they're the law of attraction, the law, you hear all these different things, all this spiritual voodoo bullshit, but literally we have proved that atoms are entangled across the fucking universe, and we know it. We can measure it now. It's never been measured before until 2023. And once again, this thing looks exactly like yin and yang, so how the fuck did the Asians know about this? And yeah, there's nothing new under the sun. I think the ancient people knew this. I think, Alex has said this, that it's all a simulation. That's what all the religions were trying to tell you. They just didn't have the word and the understanding and the ability to say basically that we're living a projection of a movie that we make up in our brain in the universe. And like we're on the edge of where science and spirituality like connect. Like we're actually seeing the scientific like proof of spirituality, of like that. And by spirituality, once again, that we all come from source, that we're all connected, that all atoms in the universe are entangled, that all the air in the universe is entangled, that everything matters. Everything is connected. What is matter? It actually matters. There's different matters, David. There's different matters. Matter and matter. I know I'm rambling, but this is just super interesting. And what the fuck does that chip say about all this stuff?
I don't think we know as much as we think we know. Like as a race.
How did the Asians know about that, David, 5,000 years ago?
I don't think they knew about that.
Dave, it looks like yin and yang.
Yeah, but a lot of things can look like other things.
Look up the history of yin and yang symbol. Look up the history of the yin and yang symbol.
I think we've done this.
It's like one of the oldest symbols on Earth. One of the oldest Ying Tang.
Ying Tang was born and raised in Shanghai, China, then moved to Japan, where he enrolled
He's a playwright, dude.
at the Nanzan University of Nagoya.
Ying Tang. Yin Yang history. Tang Ying.
Qing Dynasty writer, playwright, and a ceramist. Superintendent of the Imperial Porcelain Works. Yeah, I don't know.
No.
I don't know. I don't know about this. I just don't think we know as much as we think we know. Quite frankly, and
Right.
that kind of, if I'm honest, Ryan, that leads me into this theory. I'm sick of hearing that we have done the studies and then we know without any doubt, we know we've done thousands of studies, we can disprove that vaccines cause autism. I want to say that I don't know if they do. I don't know if they don't. But I'm sick of being told they definitely don't because we did the study, while simultaneously nobody on earth can tell us what causes it. How the fuck, Ryan, this is my theory though. If you can't tell me what something is, then you can't tell me what something isn't. Because until you know what it is, you don't fucking know. So I'm sick of all these people who can't tell me what causes autism, telling me that it's definitely not vaccines. Yeah, we don't know what it is, but it's definitely not vaccines. Well, how the fuck do you know? You don't know what causes it.
It didn't exist 1,000 years ago. It just does now, David.
Well,
Suddenly.
well, that's what I love because what do people chalk it up to? Oh, it's genetics. Well, genetics from what? It didn't exist before.
That's what they say about gays, David. How are you gay if you didn't if you're born gay because it's from your genes? How are you gay if the gay people didn't have children? The gay gene would die with two gay men or two gay women, David. They can't reproduce.
I don't know. That's it. That's it. It was quick, but I'm so sick of hearing there's thousands of studies have been done. Well, fuck your studies. Fuck your studies because your studies never once told us what causes it. You can't possibly know. You can't. That's the bottom line, and that's why we need to have open discourse on the internet, even with private companies. It still has to exist. Because I can't have people running around being the authority, acting as the authority, telling me that we know what doesn't cause something when we don't know what does cause it.
Well, David, why don't we just take them to court and ask them in court, David?
It just doesn't make sense. There's no logical argument to be made.
We'll take them to court, David. I'm sure we can take the vaccine companies to court, surely.
I could try.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll release the transcripts to everyone.
Sure. I'm sure.
For people who don't know, David and I have talked about this on the show before. Longtime listeners would know. There's a secret vaccine court.
Thanks to
about people.
Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, about people that have been harmed by vaccines. So when they say safe and effective, it's a fucking lie because it's not safe and effective for everybody. It's safe and effective probably for a majority of people when they say that. I agree. I'm not. But people have been harmed by vaccines. They are allergic to the things in vaccines. I told Dave, I heard, I'll say conspiracy theorists because we're on the internet, but one guy said that they actually take, maybe you can type this in, they take egg whites and they put it in the vaccine. And what happens is it's been causing kids to be allergic to eggs. Because when you inject a foreign body from another person other than yourself, David, you create an autoimmune response because your body is going to try to kill the cells that it does not recognize as from its own body. And the guy even went on to say that this happens particularly with people that get organ transplants, because when you get organ transplants, you have to go on all this medication to stop the autoimmune response from your body. Forget what he called it. It's like anti-rejection medicine or something it's called. But they give you medicine to stop you. Egg proteins. Look at that.
Yeah, some vaccines contain egg proteins. It says people with egg allergies.
Just a small amount, David.
In most cases.
How much egg protein is too much egg protein?
But you're telling me, not you, Ryan, they are telling me that too many eggs cause cancer, but we're going to put them in our vaccines.
Oh yeah, you can only eat 2 eggs a day or you die from high cholesterol. Yellow fever vaccine can cause allergic, not recommended for people with egg allergies.
Flu, it's in flu vaccines. Like that's pretty.
Yeah, David, you should
That's
look up.
out there,
You should look up if they use human fetus tissue in vaccines as well, and have that one up on screen because they do that one too. Even though I'm sure that Google supercomputer that I got to unplug is going to say that it doesn't.
The AI supercomputer must have went down for this question.
I'm sure it doesn't know that we're live on air right now, trying to educate people as a cultural icons that we are, David.
Several common vaccines are made by growing
There you go.
viruses in fetal
There you
embryo
go.
cells.
There you go. You literally, when you get an injection, you are receiving another person. There you go. There you go. Not a fucking conspiracy. I've known about that for 10 years, David. 15 years, David. I was called crazy. Crazy. And then what happens once again is, since you're injecting a foreign fucking body, literally a different strand of DNA into yours, your body attacks that DNA because, let's be honest, that's what your immune system's for, David. And then you become immunocompromised because now it's trying to fight off literally different DNA. And then these people stay products of the system, and most of them fucking die and their organs fail anyways. But keep signing up for organ donation so that they can harvest all my organs out of me while I'm... You ever hear about those stories about doctors that they thought people were dead, and then they started harvesting their organs, and the guy fucking woke up and with doctors in his stomach trying to take his shit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because people, once again, when you become an organ donor, you sign away all autonomy over your body. The state owns your cells. They own your DNA. That's what organ donor means. It means that you don't own your body.
Ryan.
It's fucking hard hitting this week, dude. Holy shit.
Ryan.
Yeah, there's eggs and there's fucking dead babies in vaccines. And they have a fucking supercomputer that proved we live in a multiverse, apparently. Or Google says allegedly. That's the other thing. Do we trust Google? Are they overclocking this? Are they underclocking it? Are they hiding things? Like, it's just so interesting.
No, we don't trust Google.
Tim Pool, dude, just retire the fucking beanie.
Hold on. Yes, please get rid of the beanie. This is like the first time I can say, and I've watched Tim Pool, and he's all right. This is probably the first time I can say that I've watched Tim Pool and went, fucking let's go. I'm just gonna play it.
Maybe the dad in him is really coming out now. He's actually fucking being
right.
honest.
He's becoming a provider and protector. I'm proud of him. Ryan, we talked about it on this very program. I can say it anecdotally, but it's also a very well known thing. Like when you become a parent, you change rapidly.
Your mind physically changes, David. A part of you that doesn't exist until you have a child.
As always, Ryan, I can't pause this.
Okay. Can you pause that?
You don't know anything about these January 6 cases. You don't know why these people are in jail. You don't know that a man is in Brooklyn right now for 3 years without charge or trial. And when Donald Trump says these people have been held for too long, you say, no, Trump is wrong. Keep them locked up. That's fucking fascist. Dude, you've been sitting here with no knowledge of the specifics of some of these cases. There is a man in Brooklyn right now. I'm going to say it again. No charges whatsoever brought. He's been in jail for 3 fucking years. For you to sit there and say it is good that he remains locked up is fascism. That is saying the hierarchical system of the courts and the government is just, and the process is all that matters. And I am saying perhaps 3 years.
Hold on. Little background. This stems from a conversation they were having about presidential pardons. So, presidential pardons are a good thing. There's a reason they exist. He said, well, it's overruling the courts and it's authoritarianism. That was Luke's argument. Luke is the other child.
And I'm sure he failed to mention that Joe Biden has pardoned more people than any other president in the last 70 years. And if you look at Donald Trump, David, he was the least. He pardoned the least in the last 70 years. I think George Bush was kind of close, but all of them. Obama was the great pardon in chief, David, until the good old Joe Biden.
He blew him out of the water.
Yeah, but those Republicans, man, they're just helping themselves out, even though it's been Democrats that have been pardoning themselves, those child molesting fucking murderers.
One of Trump's famous pardons was a Democratic mayor. I think it was a
Yeah.
mayor. Maybe he's a governor. Can't remember which.
Yep. Yeah, you remember when
Here
Biden
is
said he
a
wouldn't
no.
pardon his son? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Because I actually have moral logic and an understanding of these cases. Hence, my position on January 6th has always been the people who have attacked police must go to prison. But 3 years is a fucking long time for assault on an officer. We have seen people on the far left, notably when they were firebombing shit all across Minnesota, 33 people murdered. And how many criminal charges did we get for this? When they firebombed a police station and forced the police to evacuate. On May 29th, 2020, when thousands of far leftists firebombed the White House grounds and set fire to St. John's Church and injured 100 police officers. How many fucking people went to prison for 3 years? How many of them who never showed up on that day are in prison for 20 years? Enrique Tarrio wasn't even in D.C. on January 6th. And you are saying that man who his only crime was, quote, don't leave. That's his only crime. You think he should be in prison for 20 years because you're a fascist. You don't care what the facts are. You don't care if this is unjust. You only care that the machine state has decreed you are not to be locked up. And this is the problem I have with the left. They don't know the facts. They don't care about the facts. They view morality as a blanket government stroke of the pen. And every person, regardless of their crime, should be in prison for decades. I reject it outright. The people who fought cops should go to prison. They did. It's been 3 years. But when you've got people who are on misdemeanor charges for having walked into a building at 4 p.m. after the riot, and I know some of these people, they walked into a building for 2 minutes and walked out, and they got 18 months for that. I don't see you defending the innocent people who walked onto a public grass at a public building after a riot had been completed. You don't know. You don't care. You've taken a tribal position and people are suffering because of it. Now you say that Donald Trump
not
saying
tribal.
the injustice that we've seen warrants commutation or pardons. You say that means he's advocating for violence. This is the ultimate problem. Then you cite a press release from Maryland saying, but the right's more violent. There is a distinction between a white supremacist as a right-wing group and a run-of-the-mill Christian conservative who showed up on that day not to protest. Let's talk about Brandon Strzok. He never went in the building. He was on the other side of the building. There was a permitted protest. He walked up the stairs and he was yelling. They put this guy in prison. There is Owen Schroyer, who was at a permitted rally, who was yelling death to communists. They put him in prison and specifically cited his speech. My dude, you don't know what you're talking about. And it's fine. I get it. We try to be polite. We try to be nice. But there are so many young liberals who sit here and say, the corporate press told me that these people are bad and the machine state government has decreed it by pen. So I don't care what crime they committed. I don't care what the jury said. I don't care who was on the jury. Enrique Tarrio, who was not there, should be in prison for 2 decades. Tell me this now. Why is Enrique Tarrio in prison?
Yeah, so they uncovered with him his plot to overthrow
What
the
plot?
government.
Enrique Tarrio, is it?
Yeah, and his organization.
What plot? Who's they? Give me some
Prosecutors.
Give me some fucking data. Stop squinting at me and saying the prosecutors did a thing. You didn't know. You didn't read it. You didn't read the court papers. All
That's the gist of it, to be honest.
Quick question, David.
Mhm.
How long has Tim Pool been watching our program? Because he sounds just like I do.
He might
But
have,
I've had a
he
fucking
might have
enough.
started.
I've had a fucking enough. I've been had enough, Tim Pool. I'm glad you're starting.
Calm
to grow
down,
some
Tim.
dick. Yeah, just calm down, Ryan. It's just a private company that censored your speech. I came on this program 4 years ago, David, and told you Jordan Peterson, after he studied, I don't know, all of the worst atrocity, if you go down the Jordan Peterson route, he said one time that he got super obsessed, David, with communism and how the Soviets were able, especially the Nazis as well, but particularly the communists, because let's be honest, David, communism has killed far more people than Hitler ever did. Stalin starved more people than Hitler ever did. Okay? And if I've come on the program and told you, if my family did not move here in 1900, 1910, when my grandmother came here, they would have starved when Joseph Stalin starved hundreds of millions of Ukrainians to death. My family would be dead. Very fortunate for that. But Jordan Peterson has studied. He said he bought all the books and all the Gulag Archipelago and all the history books. He bought all the paintings of the Red Revolution and everything. And he got obsessed with it. And he came to the realization that 99.999999999999999% of us would be those camp guards. 99% of you, I don't give a fuck who you are. Buff Mike, you too. Hide behind your private company, because if you were told to murder your neighbor, you would do it. You would. You didn't think you would. But what if I told you if you don't murder your neighbor, they're going to murder your whole family? Who you picking there? I'll just kill one neighbor, David. It always starts with the small rocks, right? Jordan Peterson also said, I don't want to always keep referring to him, David, but he is a mentor of mine and one of the wisest men to ever walk the earth. I was told to trust the scientists and the doctors. He's a doctor and a scientist, David. He's actually conducted scientific psychology studies. He knows what he's talking about this, even though you've demonized him for the last 5 years.
Well, don't trust the scientists, Ryan. You have to trust the consensus. Ryan, do most people agree that most people would be Nazi concentration camp?
No, David, I don't think most people have ever even fucking thought. David, I don't even think I think most people think they're good. And here's another doctrine. This was a Friedrich Nietzsche thing, I believe, that most people aren't good by character, David. They're just scared to be bad. And those aren't the same thing. The only reason that you're not out raping and pillaging is because you're scared to go to jail. But in reality, you're a piece of shit that wants to rape and pillage. And here you are. Oh, I'm a good person. Look, I've never claimed to be a good person. I try to do good, David. There's a difference. Because I am narcissistic. I am selfish. I am a bastard. I am a prick. I can be mean. I've hurt my family and friends and said shit I shouldn't. But I'm human. That's the thing. It's part of the human condition. And I recognize that. And once again, David, 99% of us would be Nazi camp concentration guards. But I can stand without a shadow of doubt, David, and know that I would not be. Go ahead. Kill it. You can threaten to kill my whole neighborhood. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. You know why I know that, David? Because we were the only ones that I fucking know in all of forever that spoke out against COVID. I'm one of the few people I ever met. Ever. You had to go to the internet to find somebody, David, to speak out against COVID. They had to be on Joe Rogan. Remember the airplane pilot? Remember the fucking airplane pilot that said he's not going to get the vaccine? I got to interview him in my car just by the luck of God. He started the whole thing in the airlines. One man. What if he never spoke up, David?
You'd be stuck with the other 99%.
99% of the airplane pilots are Nazi camp concentration guards. That's just a dumbass analogy you have to hear to realize that you and Hitler are the same thing. And I only keep going down this route, David, because that guy sitting across, you could tell that Tim Pool he knew he was looking the devil in the eye there. That's why he got like that. That's why he got triggered, because that internal Thomas Jefferson, that internal George Washington, because we all channel their collective unconscious, right, David? Carl Jung, that we all share collectively unconscious, tie back quantum entangled atoms, David. All our minds are connected, people. Don't think they're not. They fucking are, okay? Tim Pool knew. Tim Pool knew what that dude was. And he said fascist. He's not a fascist. He's not a fascist. I know, like, textbookly, but they're Marxists, okay? The radical left, he said the left, it's not the left, dude. Stop calling, they're Marxists. They are the devil. They're literally the embodiment of people that want to see you broken, poor, and homeless. And they want to have dominion over every choice that you make in your life. They want to tell you how much you can eat, where you can go, how you can spend your money, all of it. They don't even want you to be alive. That guy right there will kill you so that he can drive a Rolls Royce or whatever his dream is. He would do whatever he wanted. He'd step over all of his fellow men, probably his own family. Tim Pool knew. I'm actually really proud of him for that. Not that he fucking, I cannot wait to meet him and actually have like a real conversation with him, me, you, and him and his team, because I know it will happen. But because quite honestly, the thing I'm going to talk to him the most about is his progression in the liberty movement. because Tim Pool is like, you know, when they always say that, like, there was, you know, that OnlyFans model that now is like a revout Christian, and she's coming out and saying that she ruined families and people are mad at her.
The one that Michael Knowles interviewed.
Yeah, and she would wear like, she'd be like,
oh she converted. No, she didn't.
Yeah, well, whether or not, well, here's the thing. Maybe she really did, but there's this is like a biblical thing. It's all throughout the Bible, dude. Like, God chose ugly people, like literally people that were rapists and murderers and drunks and alcoholics and abusers and everything. The worst of the worst people God calls upon sometimes to do his bidding. Tim Pool knew. He fucking knows, dude. He felt it. I think this is one of the first few times I've actually seen Tim Pool alive and not just robotically reporting shit. He's seen the spirit of what we're actually up against. These people want to break your fucking will, dude. They think that somebody going to jail without being told that they committed a crime or whatever they did is due process. These people don't even know due process. They don't care to know due process because they hate the country that it was founded on, because they're evil. The guns in this country were the only thing that kept us from fucking global enslavement. I don't care how many kids die in schools. I don't care what building blows up. Don't ever give them up, people. And you know what? Get your own AI fucking robot fucking army, because that's what we're going to need. We're just to be able to protect prosperity. We're going to need a fucking global positioning fucking system for drones. These people are going for broke. They're doubling down.
Ryan, I don't want to interrupt you there, but I think this is the perfect time to bring this up. As always, Ryan, I can pause it.
Well, before you go, I'm just going to say this.
You need me to pause it?
Yeah. Hey, can you pause that quick? I'm just going to say this. I know I spend plenty of time on the internet, but how many more people do I have to bring to the forefront for you people? Serious question. This isn't, I don't want my flowers. Fucking let them die. But how many times do we have to be right, David, on this program and show you what they're doing in the culture? Seriously. This is why, like, your whole, like, oh, it's private. Dude, nobody I know has a leg to stand on against us. Dave, we'll talk about this later, about how the paradigm shift changed when we started doing our own news program. Because people look at you different. They treat you different. They really do. And they don't talk about certain things with me. But I told you guys about Tate. Remember when he was just on Fresh and Fit and I came on there and said this super funny guy that is encouraging you to be strong and rich and to break the system and the matrix? And remember? It was just casually thrown in there. And then boom, a year later, here we are. I wonder what happens now, David. I wonder how many times we said, oh, this is, I wonder if you were to take all of our Tate talking points over the last few years, I wonder how they match up to what really happened. So I'm sorry, go ahead. This is how many more times, people? I only say it because Dave and I have fucking credibility. YouTube knows, dude. YouTube knows we got their ass. YouTube fucking knows. They know that Dave and I know what they're doing, and we've caught them.
Better than a not guilty verdict, a judge has decided there's not enough evidence to even send this to trial. There's no evidence of crimes. None of this makes sense. They print an indictment with thousands of pieces of paper, which doesn't mean anything. It doesn't add up to a crime. They falsified evidence. The whole thing is garbage. The case is now officially dismissed. But if there's no evidence to take me to trial, this begs a very pertinent question. There was never any evidence to put me in jail. There was never any evidence to raid my house 5 times. There was never any evidence to keep me travel banned for 3 years. There was never any evidence to stop me seeing my children. There was never any evidence to stop me seeing my mother when she had a heart attack. There was never any evidence to steal all of my cars and all of my money and all of my wealth. There was never any evidence for the media, which were very complicit, to try their very best to slander me, to bother my mother after she had an operation, trying to make her cry, to make my children sad, to make the women around me sad. This is not just about my brother and I. We're tough guys. Every single person who loves us has suffered, and there's never been any evidence in the first place, like we've been telling you for 3 solid years. We've been telling you this for 3 solid years. This is a bitter
I have told you for 3 years.
I'm happy because finally an honest judge did the right thing and threw this case out. I am happy because I got to enjoy this perilous path with the person I love the most on the planet, which is my brother, Tristan Tate. He is the best brother on the planet. And when we shook hands, irregardless of the circumstance, even when we were sitting in a jail cell together, we only laughed and smiled. We are ready to die together. We have been since the moment we were born. And there is no better feeling on earth than knowing you have a brother who's ready to die beside you. We are the type of men who will charge at the gunfire after a quick nod of heads. We don't care. We were ready for 20 years in Rehovot. We knew this was a setup. We knew this was a Matrix attack. We didn't expect justice at any point during this, but we fought tooth and nail. My legal team and everyone around me said, Andrew, just be quiet. If you're quiet, you can make it go away. Don't make a big noise about it. Maybe we can do a deal behind the shadows. And I said, no, my father did not raise me to have the Tate name tarnished by liars and corrupt actors. I will fight tooth and nail from the absolute day I was first accused until the last day they throw me in jail. And from there, I will continue to fight. I'm an innocent man. I've done nothing wrong. I'm not going to be quiet. I'm not going to do a deal. I'm not going to lay down. I'm going to fight this absolutely tooth and nail. And everybody told me you can't beat the system. If you make too big a deal of this, you are going to go to jail. And I said, I will go to jail for 20 years happily if everybody knows I am innocent. If everybody knows I've done nothing wrong, I'll suffer in jail. But I will not let people lie and slander the last name Tate when we've done nothing wrong. There is no such thing as light without dark. The light that radiates from the beautiful brotherhood I share with Tristan must be balanced. And the balance to that dark are nightmares, which I've suffered ever since I was put inside of that jail cell. I still wake up at night looking for cockroaches inside of my blankets. I still smell that jail. I didn't go to jail in England. I didn't go to jail in fucking America. I went to jail in Romania. I was thrown in an Eastern European prison. Do you have any idea the conditions in an Eastern European jail? And there was never any evidence for me to be there in the fucking first place. I think God is giving me these nightmares to ensure that my wounds stay fresh. Because it would be very easy for me now that the first case has been thrown out. The second case will follow quickly. Within a few weeks, we'll be back on private jets, back on our daddies, back on yachts, living a good life. We could just ignore all this, live and let live, make it all go away. No big deal. We were found innocent. I still can't sleep. So why would God still be keeping me awake at night unless he wanted my wounds to still hurt? Unless he understands that innocent men being told they're innocent isn't justice. Justice is when liars. Justice is when corrupt actors. Justice is when complicit media outlets. Justice is when people who have tried their very best to put an innocent man in jail purely because they don't like what he says. Not because he's guilty, because they don't like what he says. They had no interest in the truth. They just wanted me to be guilty because they didn't like me. Justice is when they feel the full weight of the law. And perhaps he has enacted me, chosen me as this soldier because I am 38 years old. I have 35 more years to live. I have unlimited resource. I can't sleep. I'm petty. And I can ensure that everybody who has ever said my name in a negative light regrets the day they were chasing the attention and chasing the likes on Twitter, because it's not going to be worth it. I have done nothing wrong. Hundreds of millions of dollars of compensation are going to flow my way. And it's not about the money. It's about making people understand that just because you do not like somebody, just because you do not like the words they say, just because they said some stupid things on the internet 10 years ago, just because they offend you with their jokes, does not mean they should be locked up innocently. All people, including my enemies, deserve a fair trial and deserve freedom if they are innocent. But my enemies are not innocent. And my enemies are never going to apologize. Never going to apologize to my mother, never going to apologize to my children, never going to apologize to the people around me who have suffered even more than my brother and I. They will pay. Because as I said after my first cancellation, it was a fair warning because I am a fair man. I do not hit people without telling them I will hit them first. My unmatched perspicacity, coupled with sheer indefatigability, makes me a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor. The counterattack has been long planned. It's quite interesting how much time you have to think and be creative inside of a Romanian dungeon. And now, finally, as the dominoes start to fall, as the house of cards of lies is collapsing in real time, the counterattack comes closer and closer to fruition. My brother and I have always been innocent. We were attacked because of our monumental fame and the work we were doing at the time to break the matrix. The reason Trump is in office, the reason everyone's now based in telling the truth, the reason the masculine youth are rejecting the programming, the reason all of these things are happening was by no small part down to my brother and I personally. It's not just us. but we were part of the entire culture war. They tried to
Amen.
get rid of us. They tried to make us suffer. And I promise you, now that the war has been won, and now that my final paperwork is being stamped before I am released, the people who have done this, who have tried to make us suffer injustice purely because we were trying to do the right thing, are going to pay the price.
What a juxtaposition, David. What a juxtaposition, because everything he was saying reminds me of that dude that Tim Pool was laying into about how he said that, oh, they're just fascists and all this stuff. Tate just brought tears to my eyes. Tell me, David, tell me if he was a Nazi camp concentration guard or he would fight back. You see that will in his eyes? You see that determination? It's all fake. I'm sure he's just acting, David. Like Ben Shapiro said that he was just a fraud. I can't wait to watch him rip Ben Shapiro off the fucking internet, that little scumbag prick. Ben Shapiro is single-handedly destroying the liberty movement because he can't stand that Christ is king. Fuck that guy. Seriously, I'm sick of him.
That's a man ready to go on offensive. I mean,
What-
look at what we've fought over the past few years here. We have played defense, we have beaten them back, and now it is time to push forward.
And if you think they spent $1 billion on a campaign and trillions of dollars globally and all this stuff and set up structures and DEIs and World Health Organizations and the WHO and fucking CDC and OSHA laws and presidential party, if you think they're just doing all that stuff and just going to wait 4 years. I like what he said about God making him feel the pain. I saw myself in Tate a lot there, David. I really did. And there's nothing more dangerous than a man that's got nothing to lose. Yeah, show me those quality of people on the other side, David. They don't exist. Show me men that are willing to be bankrupted, willing to die on the other side, because they don't exist.
No chance. It's that is the difference between the sides.
It's good and evil, man. That's all there is anymore. That I told you guys, there's no left and right. We're all Americans or you're not. You're either for the country or you're not. It's good and evil.
It is literally the opposite on the other side. It is taking money to sacrifice your morals.
And we've said this before. They do that to Tate, but they're doing it to us. Literally, Dave and I have suffered some of the things that they did to Tate with the cancellation, for example. You know, as far as like the YouTube stuff. I actually sent this to Dave the other day. I took a screenshot. He told me that all of our podcasts have been going up on YouTube as well for a while now, right, David? You've been able to post for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And when I looked up the weekly show, December 1773, now granted, I actually have to type out everything. And then after I type out everything, they don't even have our channel at the top. If you were to go to your phone right now on YouTube and type in December 1773, the weekly show, they would show you like the Boston Tea Party, this day in history, our channel will not come up there, even though you type it in word for word.
Maybe it's just a faulty search function, right?
David, I'm sure it's just a part of the system. This is my whole point. I know I'm not Tate, but this is why I said I see myself in him. Because they want to break your will. They want me and Dave to stop. Not that but we are part. What he said when he's like, we helped win the war. Dave and I got Trump elected. Literally. Talk history, religion, politics in public, right, Dave? Literally got Trump elected. Literally. I went up to a dude last night at the bar, a young man. He had a black Make America Great Again. It was the Elon Musk hat. And I told him, I fucking love your fucking hat, bro. And I love that it's on a young man. And I was like, Trump won, dude. I just screamed it in a bar. I'm not doing it, dude. You can take all my money. You can kill me. You can jail me. You have to go after my family. I always tell you guys that one day we might just.
If we do, you know what happened.
Yeah, well, I don't have $1 billion. I don't have unlimited resources. And then there's also the thing, right, that's my ego talking, that the government doesn't care about you, Ryan. YouTube doesn't care about you, Ryan. Then why do they censor the program? We report the news. I never interfered in a foreign election. That was your opinion, YouTube. You're wrong. You're wrong. You did it on purpose. We are the microcosm. We are the mini Tates. If they'll do it to Tate, they will do it to you. That's what we always said, right? If they'll do it to Trump, they'll do it to you. Well, we've had it. We've had it fucking happen to us. And I'm just told, even in my family, I don't hate them. You know, like I'm not expecting them to understand taking on global elitists, David, that want to make you eat bugs. I don't expect the average person to feel sorry for me because, quite frankly, we put our necks on the line for a reason. And it's not for validation. I can't go to bed every night knowing that I didn't try. But the point is people look at me and they're just like, well, of course they censored your speech. It's like they're already pre-programmed to just accept it. And I am not going to accept it.
Yeah,
because I am not your Nazi camp guard. I am not fucking your so stop treating me like it. Stop acting like I'm like one of you. Because I'm not. I mean, you are the weak people. Without me and Dave, you don't have freedom. Literally. Without me and Dave, you don't have freedom of speech. Because I'm the only one I know fighting for it, Dave. You and I are the only ones I know fighting for it. The only people I know fighting for freedom on the internet. Not just hashtag fucking freedom. Not just, oh, I post on Tinder or Twitter. No, Dave and I are literally saying things. I have come on this program and called for the death of the people that fucking told you have to get vaccinated because they violated the Nuremberg Code. That's probably a felony somewhere. But they agreed to it. I didn't force them. I'm just here reporting the history of religion and politics, David. But I can go to jail for that, even though you agreed to it. And that's what they'll do. If you don't fucking think they're going to do that. The only reason you can even go on TikTok is because of Dave and I. And then go all the way up. I'm not that special. I'm a very small cog in the wheel, Dave. We're very small. I know our place. But we're getting there. Without me, there's no Tate. Without Tate, there's no me. I know we're quantum entangled, David, in the fight for good here. But I'm tired. Like, without me and Dave, you guys don't have freedom. And believe me, it's not like I'm bragging. It's scary. If I were to sit, actually, David, to go full conspiracy. If I were to sit around and think about how much shit I've said on the internet and how dangerous it's been and how it could put our families in danger and our lives and our livelihoods and, you know, our future career choices and the social credit score, the debanking. What am I going to do? How am I going to, like, take my kid to school if I can't have a fucking bank card to fucking put gas? Cash isn't accepted. Like, what am I going to do in that society? If I ever sit around and think about it long enough, I probably want to just be like, I'm just giving up. I'm going to live on the street. But I'm not doing that. I got down and out on myself the other day, and then I realized when I had to go change my vibration and go listen to some live music, I realized the sounds I'm attracted to and how they alter me. But the point is, like, I had to get regrounded. I had to refocus because I got off course. I let that enemy within win, say that I'm nothing and I'm a piece of shit and all these things. I had all that negative self-talk. I forgot why I got up every day. And then I had a little reset. I was a little bit reminded. Without Dave and I, you guys don't have freedom. And without Dave and I, there's no Tate. There's no Tate. There's no us without Tate either. It's not hyperbole. It's really not. If you can't see it, you don't know what you're talking about. And quite frankly, David, at this point, anybody that just regurgitates or listens to like mainstream stuff that doesn't think for themselves is part of the problem and the enemy. And not like an enemy that they need to be like beat up or anything, but like, you know, this is friends and family and your coworkers and everything. David, I know we always talk about this, but the entire time I've been politically active, everybody's told me I'm the stupid one. Ask Dave. Dave's been in the rooms with me when everybody's laughing at me. He's literally been there. My bosses, millionaires, laughing in my face that I'm the crazy one. Go get your vaccine there. Go ahead. He got the flu right after that. After his little flu vaccine, he got the flu. Thought you can't catch the flu after the vaccine, David. Oh, it's got a 52% effective rate. Why are you taking it in the first place? But I was the weird one. They told me that global government would never happen, though I watched them lock the globe down about something that was made in a lab. We told you it was made in a lab. Dave and I told you, and I wrote down in March on my Instagram of 2020 that it was re-education.
I said it
A
was
month.
a psychological test.
Political Stockholm syndrome. So you're welcome. I don't even want them. I'm sorry. I just hope you have, when my GoFundMe page gets up for me to fucking maybe get my rights back and I'm shoved in Guantanamo Bay and never see the light of fucking day again until they take the GoFundMe page and I got to get paid in Bitcoin that's untraceable, but traceable only for the FBI, David, of course. Oh, we don't like digital currency. It's not traceable. Well, FBI caught the hacker and the Bitcoin. Weird. It's not hyperbole. Dave and I getting on here every day is literally like this. We sign the digital declaration of independence every single day. We get on here and show you the videos we're talking about and show you how these quantum computers and show you all their lies and disinformation and show you how they take great people and smash them into oblivion and assault their character and character assassinate them and go through the whole tape thing. Think about not being able to share something on Facebook and it not get seen. Well, it's a private company. You're a retard. You're fucking so stupid. And you know what's also funny to me? The same people that say YouTube's a private company are the people that hate big businesses. How the fuck does that make any sense? The people that hate this is the same thing with the healthcare thing during COVID. The left was anti-big pharma. The second that they said that, they locked everything down. And they're like, nope, we have to do this. It was like, I thought you guys hate the pharmaceutical companies, but you made them trillionaires. But it's not that they don't care about your health. They care about the power. Because most people aren't good, David. They're just scared to be bad. And when they remove the restraints because they didn't have to work, bail reform and everything else, when everybody, remember when there was the no mask thing and everybody, gang mentality, put a mask on, they would shame you.
They try.
Yeah, well, most people aren't good. They're really not. They're really not. They're just scared to be bad. And COVID showed you. I told you guys during COVID. Some people were brainwashed and they just fine. I'm not those people. I'm talking the people that put the screws to you. That manager at the store that was like, you could see it in their eyes that the guy that never got laid his whole life and never felt important finally was able to tell an attractive man to put a mask on because he's jealous of you. Go die. Go die your miserable life. Go fucking be alone and die a miserable existence because you're a shitty person. I'm not calling for the death of anybody, David. I don't want to go to jail if somebody kills themselves. Sticks and stones. These people signed up for it. I'm not bowing. I'm not doing it. I'm not going back to the way it was. The only reason you have freedom is because of Dave and I. Because we're the ones out here putting our necks on the line. Andrew Tate has the resources to fight back. We do not. And what happens when I get my double gunshot to the chest, David? Oh, double homicide. Everybody's just, yeah, that guy, that guy on the internet, he just killed himself. Maybe it was too much to handle, David, not being able to buy anything because he was debanked for misinformation. And you're gonna have everything baked in your head. And imagine when AI starts writing all these fucking news articles. They're going to be so smart and designate. They're going to be able to individually Winston you with your own little news feed, with your own. They'll probably personally write you articles of the future. That your algorithm will literally be Dave's algorithm. Everybody will have their own algorithm. Talk about multiverse. Lives, fortune, sacred honor. The founders gave everything for it. If I wasn't even willing to do the same, am I even worthy enough to inherit the life that I have because of the things that people before me risked to give me everything that I have? I have individual liberty guaranteed to me by the creator of this universe. And there's no private company, there's no government document, and unjust laws is not law. And there's nothing you people can do. You're wrong. We're right. And Dave and I are like one of the very few people on all of the globe that is willing to die on this hill. Literally die. Good for Tate. And Tate, you know what that point that he said that he's like real justice. That was the other part. He said, my enemy should get a fair trial. And compare that to that guy that was on Tim Pool that said that guy should go to jail for 20 years when he never was even accused of a crime. No due process. Liberals, right, David? Liberals that say they believe in freedom. The freedom we already have. We don't need to fight for due process, David. I already possess it by the Creator. There's no interpretation of that. The government can't tell me I have the right to due process by God. You don't get to, well, we'll pass a law for due. No, bitch. Any law that goes against that's illegal. Once again, you guys signed up for Nuremberg. Get fucked. Go hang. Go hang, Ted Cruz. I'm pretty sure he voted for it, right? I'm pretty sure he fucking voted. All the Republicans, too. I'm not partisan. They all hang the same, dude. You guys violated Nuremberg, not me. Dan Crenshaw, you piece of shit. Oh, don't call a veteran piece of shit. He could shoot you, Ryan. I don't care. He's a scumbag. He's a fucking scumbag. And he's capitalizing on America's devaluation. Fuck that guy. Let him hang, too. He signed up for Nuremberg, not me, David. Can't say that on the internet, Ryan. Can't say that on the internet. You're calling for violence. SWAT team me. Go ahead. Fucking SWAT team me. You fucking send me in prison to be raped and kill myself. Fuck you guys. The eggs and vaccines is crazy.
I don't know the purpose of that.
The eggs and vaccines, David?
Yeah.
It's to cause an autoimmune response, so it kills your children. Tell me why we got to give hepatitis B vaccines to kids when they don't have sex. A 6-month-old does not do drugs and doesn't have sex. So where the fuck is it getting hepatitis from? But it's got to go. Your kid has to have hepatitis to go to school. But hepatitis only comes from drug addicts or unsafe sex with people that have hepatitis, David.
Well, you never know when you're going to run into that situation with your 5-year-old. Here's a question. You got to have that vaccine to go to kindergarten, right? When's the best time to give it to them?
Newborn.
6 months.
Can't wait.
Don't want to wait too long. You'll miss that deadline 5 years from now.
I told my doctor when I was having my kid, and she even used the quote marks of conspiracies online. That's what she said. A doctor said that because I told her that, and she said, because I assumed she was gonna have I was gonna bring up Tuskegee, the Tuskegee experiments with black people, where the government injected black people with Tuskegee and gave them syphilis or something, and they died, and they didn't tell anybody for like 50 years, and they just let it run through the black community.
That's weird. Too bad they weren't vaccinated, right?
It was in the vaccine, David. It's also known as a bioweapon, David. No, they would never put little metal flakes in the mRH vaccine and then control your mind with 5G waves, David. Can you pull up that Russell Brand video of Alex Jones confronting that cocksucker in the fucking airport and telling him that he's going to Nuremberg 2.0 is coming? Because once again, David, I don't want to, I know I'm just like, a local cultural icon that, speaks at a global level and is, Dave and I's accuracy at this point on what global elites are trying to do to you is pretty high. Now, it's not that hard, David. They told us they were going to do it in all those manuscripts that sit behind Kevin on his fucking bookshelf, but Alex Jones approached one of these guys. I don't know quite who he is. Russell Brand had like a short on it. And it's the one I sent you on Instagram. But Alex comes up to that guy, and it's just beautiful. It's finally I also seen Tucker Carlson is starting his own network, and he had Alex on stage with him. And Alex got super pumped up, and he just encouraged the crowd and got fist bumps from Charlie Kirk or whatever the other guy's name is from Turning Point USA, I think. But I've said it. I will never stop saying it. I'm so happy Alex is finally getting his flowers. It's just a shame that people think it's funny. Because, that guy's the archetype. That guy, he literally is saving humanity, dude. Like, I don't
think I'm finding the right video.
Yeah, I sent it in your Instagram feed. But, it's just,
I'll do my best to find this.
Yeah, it's cool. Dave, the other clip I want to kind of pull up, I mean, it might be a little long, but Stephen A. Smith, he's the sports commentator, black sports commentator.
Yeah.
He went on a rant. I caught it on TikTok, actually. He went on a rant and just ripped apart Democrats about running a shitty campaign and, like, basically misleading the black community. And Stephen A. Smith basically said he was Republican. And we don't have to play the clip, I guess, because I summarized it well, but it was just something. It reminded me of, like, after the election and stuff, and they were saying that Donald Trump, like, the reason he won is all the white men and all this stuff, and, you know, voted against women's rights, even though 60% of women voted for Donald Trump, just so you guys know. So when you say that it was only men that voted against, no, women voted for Trump too. So if you say, you know, people who are voting for Trump are anti-women, are women anti-women? Whatever. But yeah, I came on here and said that you guys just ran a shitty campaign. You're bankrupt morally. You have fucking bad values. We don't want what you're selling. And Stephen A. Smith said that. He fucking almost verbatim. He just laid it out super eloquently and was able to, like, pontificate a little differently because he's, you know, very good at what he does. And, you know, I know he's a sports guy, but it's relevant because we always talk about culture on the show, and sports is like a huge part of our culture. It's a distraction. It was politicized before Trump with the Colin Kaepernick stuff, and we've seen how it goes, the LeBron James and the China stuff and the Olympics and the boxing thing, the WNBA and all the racist remarks. And I mean, the way that it's moving, the transgender in sports, and it's just, you know, and I can actually segue this into, I wanted to talk about some two football players' relationships in particular and how it relates to women and Red Pill. But
I do I have that Alex Jones.
Yeah, pulled it. This is the look, the Alex that I know and love has always been like this. Okay, people, you guys just thought he was fucking crazy 10 years ago. But the Alex Jones that taught me everything I know, this is what he taught me. He said, you go get in these fucking people's faces and you scream, and you not scream. He's not like yelling, being an asshole, but you let them know that you're pissed off and you know what they're doing. Just like I said, YouTube knows what we're doing. YouTube knows. You call them out.
More people than you're writing some folk songs about it. You'll never get away with what you did. Your bioweapon. You're in a lot of trouble. Nuremberg 2 is coming.
What a character. I like the initial moment where it's like, oh, hello, would you like an autograph or perhaps a tablet or a booster shot? Oh, no, it's Alex Jones. This is a nightmare.
Yep, there it is.
How you doing?
I missed.
We're good. 20+ million people dead from those shots. Well, truth's coming out about you and Fauci. How's it feel to kill more people than you're writing some folk songs about it? You'll never get away with what you did. Your bioweapon.
How does it feel to kill more people than Hitler? Holy shit.
Tell me, David, again, if Alex Jones was one of those Nazi camp concentration guards, or was he one of the few fighting back? Whew. I've said this before. I'm so happy I caught him before all of the... I mean, I literally listened to Alex before the Sandy Hook thing, too, which was Sandy Hook was basically the straw that broke the camel's back and sent him down this spiral of all the legalities and bankruptcies. And that was the one story he covered that fucked him. Not that I don't think he regrets doing it. I mean, even though he came out and said that, like, I may have been wrong and all this stuff, but I'm just...
To be honest, they if it wasn't that, they would come for something else.
Well, they were always coming, but that was like...
Right.
You know, like Sandy Hook, I think, you know, it was such a heinous thing that it was like really hard for most people to like separate the emotion from what was going on. Like, and also the idea, this, once again, this is the problem with people in the public court of opinion. You guys have never read a military history book in your fucking life. The military will literally do anything to win, and everything's been militarized. Every inch of this globe has been militarized. Everything fucking made has a military application. Okay? Why they literally make things called military grade, David. Like my phone case is military grade. Now, granted, I know that's just the material It's like a dumb adjective to make you think that it's stronger than it is. I get it. Military grade aluminum in the Ford F-150 box, and it's still shitty. I get that. But they frame it in such a way that everything's been militarized and you know it. You just don't realize it because that's part of psychological warfare, David, right? The frog's in the boiling water, you increase it 1 degree at a time, it eventually dies. Like it's there. It's always been there. And people could not think that there would be somebody sick enough to fake a school shooting to take your liberties and hijack. It's called a false flag. Remember when the false flags weren't real, but Trump was going to do one? Remember that? Remember that story? I'm Alex Jones is beyond prophet, and he's only a prophet because he was willing to put his neck out. What he was talking about, like he always has said, I'm not special. I'm just reviewing the documents, the white papers. And he goes to the source. It's the same thing. Once again, the same thing we do on this program, Alex taught me. You go to the source, the .gov, you start with a mainstream news article, you find what they said that's fucked up, and then you reverse engineer it. You find the basic article that you basically find the science that's going to disprove the mainstream media article that you see. And then when you get to that main science article, you can start breaking it down, like the gay frog story, which is atrazine, which then RFK ran with. And now that you know what I mean? Like these things, Alex was never wrong probably about anything. He may have got some things like a little off or not quite, but Bohemian Grove, billionaires meeting, burning sticks in the woods in the middle of nowhere, completely fine. Something everybody does on Saturday nights, David. Shut up, conspiracy theorists. I remember telling people about Bohemian Grove and secret societies like 10 years ago. And like literally, Dave, remember, like, once again, you remember, Dave, the Illuminati, the whole thing. People thought I was out of my fucking mind. It's on everybody's TikTok feed. All the powers that be. It's so casual in the zeitgeist now that people just accept that there's secret societies running around telling you what the fuck to do. We caught Fauci lying in real time. Nobody gave a fuck. Dave and I have literally been fitted for respirators. Told you that masks aren't going to do fucking shit against COVID. Shut us down on the internet for misinformation. I literally am the information. I literally worked in an environment that if I didn't wear a mask, David, I would die from cancer.
Yeah,
literally.
Like YouTube's basically asking us, what's the source on our anecdotal stories?
Yeah, me.
We're the source.
Yeah, I read all the
ask somebody
MSDS sheets. I went to the school to learn how the paint worked. I went to EPA. I know how to dispose of chemicals. I know the hazards. I know what isocyanate exposure can do to your body. I know what your lymph nodes get happen when you cycle fucking lacquer thinner through. If you were to right now in my house, go to the other side of the building and open a can of nail polish, in this room, my eyes would burn. I don't want to fucking hear it. I am a scientist, David. We were literally paid scientists. Now, the science we were doing, David, was automotive application. They dumb it, you know what I mean? It's not fucking doing scientific studies. But painting a car is literally chemistry, okay? That's what the guy at the paint school I went to said. He said, it's chemistry, people. It is a science. It's an applied science, David. But I'm just rambling because I don't have Dr. Fauci's fucking credibility with injecting people with fucking AIDS either. Little prick bastard. I cannot wait. If Nuremberg doesn't happen, I will start it gladly. David, you know, maybe that's what we can do. We'll start a GoFundMe page so we can go down there and civilian arrest all these assholes. Because it has to happen. Nuremberg 2.0 is an understatement. I hope we call it something that's like so that we never forget this. Because Nuremberg was never supposed to happen again, and it fucking did. Okay, we forgot that Nazis murdered people. We just willingly went along with the Nazi programming when it came to COVID. Never forget 9/11, though. Don't forget January 6th, but forget about Nuremberg. Forget about World War II. Because you people don't know fucking history. I barely know history. I barely know it. There's only like 11 veterans alive from World War II. There's none.
I didn't know there were any left, to be honest with you.
There's none alive from World War I. So literally reading a book about the stuff or talking to your grandfather that fought in the war, you're literally the information you're retaining is beyond priceless in the human experience. And once again, we all collectively share our unconscious. I don't care what you say. It's not an opinion. We have, Dave has, I have. I've come on this program. I have shown you guys all of our sources. I've shown you where we get our thoughts from. I show you the psychology, philosophy. We go through history. We give you the greatest thinkers of all time. They all say the same shit. But you tell me that it's justifiable that I'm not allowed to speak because it's a private company. The only reason you have freedom on Facebook is because of Dave and I and people like us. Which I'd say it every week to you guys. I say, when I end the show, I say, Dave, as always, I appreciate you most for your time. And everybody else's for your time. I don't take it for granted. You guys don't have to tune in. That's the greatest thing. But the thing, even if no one watched this, Dave and I would do this because I know Dave knows. And Dave knows I mean that time thing. Because quite honestly, those documents behind Dave, like every podcast we release is a new Declaration of Independence. And I probably won't see court, David. I actually know I won't. Like, you know, for all I know, we'll be long gone, and then people have to resurrect all this shit through the archives and actually be like, holy fuck. And then we would like get posthumous awards or something. I don't want awards, but you know what I mean? Like, like it would basically be like, you know, you find a prisoner of war, like, holy fuck, you were starved for 30 years. You know, it's like, here's your red badge of courage, dude. Like, fuck. But like, I'm not doing this for accolades. My name will be forgotten one day or another, but live fortune, sacred honor, right? That was a whole thing that started it, and it's just a chain. But seeing people like Alex, dude, that's the dude that got me going. And I've been laughed out of a lot of rooms. I'm not getting laughed at anymore, Dave. Isn't it weird? Isn't it weird we're not getting laughed at anymore? Isn't it weird that in your little basement studio, not little, your beautiful basement studio, isn't it crazy that
it's a wall?
Isn't it crazy that at your basement wall studio there that we can predict the future and we can like call out what's going to happen at a geopolitical level, even though we basically have like the average education and an average IQ, but no one else can do it. I mean, I know we've always said this on the program, but when you start like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just didn't know if you've seen the other side of the studio before.
Just flip the camera around. Yeah, I know I'm just kind of going on and on here because this is like a Tate and Alex Jones thing smashed together here at the end. But I'm fucking telling you guys, man, these people that actually have risked shit, like, you gotta go back, man. They told you, Alex showed you all the paperwork 20 years before COVID hit and what they would do. And they did exactly what they said they were gonna do. So
they even had a trial run.
They did, David. So, David, I want to talk about something actually because I've come on this program. I was a big proponent of the early red pill movement on the internet. That's what started the Tate thing, the Fresh and Fit thing. And then I've always told you guys that the red pill that I consumed was more backed on the self-improvement and not so much on the misogynistic women hating, even though I have slipped into some of that myself personally, David, because once again, I am human and women piss me off. But I've come very far in my understanding of men and women in relationship dynamics, especially between somebody you love or, you know, your family and coworkers. And mostly because, one, as always, David, we all shoot from the hip sometimes, but I like to shoot a lot. And the thing, you don't get everything right, and I've hit my head a lot. But I've also had a lot of people help me. I've had good friends that were females, and we've had a lot of conversations and just understanding each other. And I always related to this, that the best thing I ever did sometimes was like I've never, once again, not going on my way to hurt people's feelings, but when I'm myself and I'm in the moment and I'm all animated talking about the way I feel and stuff, I brush up against people and it pisses them off. And when I've had friends that I piss off and we have a good conversation and we're able to actually hold space and like get to the bottom of things, it's very beneficiary for everybody. It's actually, that's the problem. You know, we always talk history, religion, politics, and you should talk to people that disagree with you, right? So the red pill, Josh Allen and Travis Kelce, we're going to lump these kind of two together, especially when it comes to relationship dynamics. David, we're Bills fans. We love the Bills. But Deion Dawkins, which is the one of the, I think it's the left tackle for the Bills, he was interviewed last week about Josh Allen's relationship with Haley Seinfeld, who is Jerry Seinfeld's daughter. Right, isn't?
No, it's not even Seinfeld. It's like Steinfeld,
Steinfeld?
or something. Yeah.
I thought that was his daughter.
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I fucked up. Either way, she's an actress. She's an actress. That's why I thought, whatever. That's my bad. Whatever. My point is she has money. You know, like she's affluent, she's pretty, she's all these things, talented. You know, and then Taylor Swift, right, is with Travis Kelce. She's a billionaire. Travis Kelce is like 100 millionaire. And I told Dave that we have to talk about back to Deion Dawkins quick. They asked him, like, why is Josh Allen having such a good season? And is it because of Haley? And he's like, well, you know, it's the effect. And Josh came out, he got engaged a couple weeks ago. And he said that he attributes a lot of his season to his fiance and soon to be wife, because it's just the support and the understanding and the love, and just like a good woman makes a great man an amazing man. You know, they always said, like, the man is the head, the woman is the neck and shoulders, you know, and it's like one hand washes the other. And there isn't a more important, neither thing is more important than the other, because it's yin and yang. It's not even like a fit. We actually do a disservice when we say 50-50 relationships, because we actually can't quantify what things we provide for each other. You know, like, you know how self-aware we would need, like, ChatGPT to watch me all day and then write it down on a list and be like, well, you do this and she does this and this is where they intersect. Like, it'd be so complicated for us to have to be that self-conscious. That's why it doesn't happen. Your mind will go fucking crazy, probably burn down. But, or you'd be so crippled with anxiety, right, that you wouldn't move and you'd starve. But I think it's just a microcosm, because all you hear from red pill guys, right, is that women care about these the money thing, you know, and we are seeing this. I've seen numbers that Gen Z think you need $400,000 a year to be successful, to like live like a decent life is like 400 grand a year, which I don't know where the fuck you got that number from. Just shows the lack of education, the lack of practicality. Also, I don't blame Gen Z, considering most of them live in their parents' basement and stuff. And it's just because they're scared, or they were crippled, or they weren't taught, or whatever it is. They just, whatever reason, they're whatever. But I just think it's telling that we're watching Travis Kelce and Josh Allen are very happy men. And they are with very strong and supportive women. And Travis Kelce, his girl makes more than him.
A lot. Like
100 times more than him. Literally 100 times more. 100 million to $1 billion is a fucking huge difference. 1,000 times more, sorry. But look, I don't know their relationship dynamic, obviously. But when I seen that Deion Dawkins interview, like I said, a great woman will make a great man and turn it all amazing. That's how you get legendary status if you were to fucking climb the Pokemon evolution, David, at this point. And I just think that the thing that what we're missing as men is that the reason that I've had problems with women is that I picked wrong, you know, or I looked at the wrong thing, or I just didn't know enough, or I was in a bad spot mentally, or it was projection, or it was bad, you know, or I was bad, or but when I look at these relationships of these hyper athletes, you would assume Josh Allen, Travis Kelce, they can date anybody they want, you know, and like part of the red pill thing was always saying that it was to educate men that were successful so that they wouldn't get hosed by a girl and like lose everything in a bad marriage or something.
When Travis Kelce first started dating Taylor Swift, people were making fun of him because he left like an Instagram model or some shit.
Yep. Yeah, they were comparing because of her body, right?
Well,
Taylor
and the
Swift
whole time, me and you were like, he's never made a better decision in his life.
Yeah. Taylor Swift loves her father. That Instagram whore does not.
It's okay to not like Taylor Swift's politics and still agree that she is an infinitely better person than some Instagram thought.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, Dave, because I think we've said it on the program. It's like the problem I have with these people is they're actually like Taylor Swift seems like a good person. It's just like, how are you so fucking stupid? You know what I mean? Like, you're a billionaire, but you're telling me to tax the rich. But Taylor Swift knows that taxing the rich means the upper middle class people because she doesn't pay taxes Taylor Swift, when you buy a Taylor Swift album, you're not buying her personal album. You're buying the brand Taylor Swift. Her company's name is Taylor Swift, right? Right? Like, seriously. It's probably Taylor Swift LLC or whatever. Like, her paycheck doesn't go to her like a personal paycheck. It probably goes to a company, and then she writes a check from the company to herself, so she doesn't have to pay fucking half of her taxes on her billions. She can pay. Taylor Swift, if you would probably look at her salary, she probably only takes like 30 grand. Like, Jeff Bezos only gets paid $50,000 a year on paper from Amazon. Everything else is stocks and fucking, whatever. I know. Yeah, this is like how when LLCs buy the business, they'll buy a building and then they'll write everything out of the business and everything else. And but yeah, the point, because a lot of the, I'm only going through this link because I consume red pill content. I did then, and I want good relationships and I want to model healthy relationships. And it's just interesting to me that these billionaires and millionaires, when they get together, they still have the same problems that you and I have. I had a post on my TikTok page, and it was about MGK and Megan Fox breaking up. And in that video, I said that she picked wrong, and that this happens to men all the time. And it's because you were looking at the wrong things. You weren't looking at character values or all these other traits that actually will make for a good relationship. Because most of the shit that people tell you to worry about is all the stuff you can buy. The body, the money, the cars. Oh, I was attracted to him because he was dressed well. It's like, well, does dressing well mean that he's going to be a good dad? Or be there for you emotionally? Is he in touch with his family side? That's what they used to say back in the day, right, David? They want a metrosexual male. And that was like basically just trying to say like a guy that was like more in tune with his feelings. Not that you're crying, but like an emotionally, the word now is emotionally intelligent, David. But I know it's been a long one, but Josh Allen and her relationship is something we should all strive for. And I just love seeing people, like I want to see people in love do well. I want to see healthy relationships. And it's good that this is up in our society. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, when it first happened, yeah, I get all the TV stuff, but I said, I commented on plenty of people's posts about this. Like, I don't know why you guys are hating on love. And I know why. It's because they don't have a good relationship. They don't love the person. They might be married to a fat girl or a fat guy that they're not going to have sex with ever. And, and I know that like I'm romanticizing the relationships of the wealthy because I don't live their life. That's fine. But success leaves clues. And I have seen Josh Allen do fucking amazing this past year. And it just makes me wonder, how he was with that ex-girlfriend from college? She was probably fucking super unstable. And she was probably not built mentally to handle that level of fame, right? Because they were high school and college sweethearts, right? So she went from a small Wyoming college to being with the best quarterback. You know what I mean? I don't know her, but I don't think her character was developed enough to be able to handle such a shift, right? Because what do athletes focus on, David, right? Josh Allen, even when you listen to him back then, he was like, oh, I listen to Tom Brady interviews. I try to give better interviews and all this shit. Josh has always poured into himself to be able to handle the level of success he has reached. But his girlfriend never worked on those traits. Which is why when he went to Haley Steinfeld, who is an actress, a voice actress, she actually is the voice actress for Spider-Gwen in the Miles Morales animated Spider-Man movies, which I didn't see the second one, but the first one is literally one of the greatest movies ever made. It's just so cool. The art style, the story. I think I December tamed it. But anyways, she knows what it's like to handle fame. She knows what it's like to be a millionaire. She knows what it's like to be these things. And it's so funny to me because you always hear from the red pill content to like get all of this stuff and you'll attract these women and all this stuff. But what the women you're probably attracting are the ones that Josh Allen left. Josh Allen's, I bet you that fucking girl was a fucking nightmare because she went from a small college to the international stage a little bit. And then when Josh started really getting good, I'm sure she was getting DMs from all the athletes, David. And she hasn't built that apparatus in her head to even be able to juggle this, right? To be able to juggle getting attention from literally 10 for 10s. If you were to look at, you know what I mean? They're 6 feet. They make the money. Back to the red pill shit, right? If you were to check all them lists, that girl's mouth's probably salivating at all of these guys. But where did Josh Allen find happiness, David? In a successful woman, in a rich woman. Even though you're told the red pill saying was a woman with money, you don't want to go after that. You want to go after like girls that don't have nothing or the people you attract. But it's just so funny because we're seeing the opposite play out. And I can say that as a Bills fan because I've seen Josh Allen's career. And this year in particular, I know, once again, this is a little more romanticizing. And I'm also not going to discredit the other parts of the team. But, dude, the right woman in your life will fucking... It's unbelievable what it can do to your life. You know, and I have not had that. I've had a good relationship. I had a pretty good relationship. I've been through a lot of shit. You know, I got the kid and all that. I'll never talk ill of people I've been with, especially on the internet. I'm not an asshole. But I don't have what they have. And I want that. I date an actress, David, sure. That's not what I mean, though. But, like that level... That woman has got to be so secure. Taylor Swift too has to be so secure in herself. You know what I mean? Like they just move different. And then look at how Travis Kelce, I've seen him out there dancing, having fun and smiling. It's like, dude, this guy's living his best life. And you know what he probably doesn't think about? The fucking money. You know? Like it must be nice to just like really be able to be like, she's not after me because of my money. Because she has money too. You know, so like the IG model that he was with, right? She was bad, but he knew it wasn't a wife. I hope these people get married. I hope they're together for a long time and model. Because once again, these athletes, I know some of them have like a ego and insecurity, and that's why they strive to be athletes to prove things to themselves. Michael Jordan is famous fucking a gambling addict. He would gamble over everything about whose food would come out first or whose airbag would be, you know, like crazy degeneracy. Some of these guys, Tiger Woods too, right? Womanizer for a minute there. But they leave clues. They're leaving you clues. They're showing you like the way. And like, you know, it all gets lost behind the points in the scoreboard and it all gets lost in some of the locker room talk and how it's just, but these people that are out there really building great lives, man, have great women supporting them. They really do. It just makes me wonder what would happen if most of us were to find that. You know, like the average man, right, the average couple or the average American is overweight, doesn't have $1,000 in their checking account and like paycheck to paycheck, hates their life, doesn't have retirement saved, car payments, all this money. And I just wonder if a lot of that would just flake away if we just had better. I know it would, but like if we had like really good, connected, meaningful, purposeful, and fulfilling relationships. Because let's be honest, Josh Allen doesn't need a girlfriend. You know, Haley Steinfeld did not need to date Josh Allen, right? Like this was back in my TikTok video. I talked about how there's incomplete people trying to complete each other by dating that person. And it doesn't work that way. You have to show up, you know, everybody's a work in progress, but you have to be willing to be putting in the work on yourself to be able to give a better version of yourself to the person you're with. And yeah, I know I went on here, but as somebody that has dived in the red pill, I've seen the red pill, back to Tate. We've seen the red pill. We've seen it get labeled as an extreme group. We've seen it get labeled as a hate group. And then when you look at the top people, the best of the best, the alphas of the alphas, David, what are they with? They're with great women that are supportive, that also have money, but it just goes against every red pill talking point there is. It really does. And it just shows you that like the thing that we're all after is just actually like connection and like a good, meaningful, purposeful reason to be with somebody. So I don't know what your view on that is, Dave. I know, you know, not to get in your relationship status on air, but you know, you two have been carving out like a good path for yourself. And I know it's not all puppy dogs and rainbows and stuff, but if I were to ask you probably, you know, 15 years ago compared to now, are you better or worse than you were? You know what I mean? It's like, I think it kind of speaks for itself, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I think if you look at the red pill movement, a lot of the, you know, be 6 foot tall, be a millionaire, find a girl with nothing is not relationship advice. It's hookup advice. which is fine, but it's not how do you live a successful, long, happy life. And that's, everyone's got their own versions of what that is, but it's not the single motherless woman, and the single childless woman, and it's not the man with 200 girlfriends. It's just
it's like hedonism, right?
It's
it's like we're training women to be gold diggers and men to be players.
That lifestyle is just, it's dopamine hits, but it's not happiness.
The synthetic, right? Yeah, and that's the culture, right? That's our culture being replaced, right, by the corporations that want you single so that you can each buy your own house. There was always the thing I heard in the red pill in the early age that the reason it was all a bank game to break up families so that you could buy 2 cars and 2 houses and 2 toasters and have 2 Christmases and 2 Christmas trees. It was a way for the bank to just separate. The nuclear family is the most efficient unit ever. It saves the most money. You don't have to buy 2 dinners. It just makes sense, right? And also, it's just the closest thing to biology. But yeah, it's a highlight of our culture, and we just now see it down in streams of it. But yeah, those top people, it's just they leave the clues for us. It's just so weird that we're like I'm saying this, me particularly, I was just looking in the wrong fucking places, dude. And a lot of that was just unfulfilled in myself. I didn't love myself enough. Wasn't trying to heal the right way. I wasn't trying to give myself the right time, or I wasn't thinking about it this way. I wasn't thinking about trying to find my Taylor Swift, right? I was just trying to be like, I'm just out here getting whatever. I'm looking, I was stuck on some of those red pill things about like trying to move my life towards a certain way and a lifestyle and a mindset. And it works. It's healthy. There's good things too there, but I got so far because I realized I went the wrong way. Like I was out in the outer world trying to get the validation from the world instead of going inward to get the validation from myself. And then when you do that, the outer world aligns to your insides, because how can it not? Right? Like if you are the thing inside, the world will just manifest to whatever you are. And I guess that goes with like a lot of the things we've talked about today in the program, Alex and Tate and Tim Pool and the computer even. Like a lot of that is just alignment. Like these people have been building towards this thing that they now stand in. And to not do the same is foolish. I also heard this, David, that 90% of people are just average. 9 out of 10 people even. It might even be more than that. But say 95 out of 100 people just want to show up, go home, and go to bed. They're not trying to think about moving the needle at all. And I think that's something else we all got to kind of look at ourselves a little bit. It's not all about money or nothing. I'm not telling you to go work 5 jobs and not see your family, but the boat's got to set somewhere, and you can't do it alone. Man can't live on bread alone. So I know I've kind of rambled at the edge here. David, Doge, the Doge bill, it went from 15,000 to like what, 100 or something?
I think it went from, maybe it was that high. I think it went from 1,500 pages to 100 pages, something along those lines.
There was a lot of things in there. There was like a new stadium, a pay raise for Congress. There was things to like January 6th stuff. And I sent Dave
January 6th stuff is a nice way to put it.
Yeah.
They were trying to give themselves immunity for trying to lock up innocent civilians.
Oh, David, there's due process for that, David, clearly.
Well, the government's going to shut down, Ryan, if we don't pass this budget. Oh,
yeah,
what's the one that gives yourself legal immunity?
And a pay increase of 40%.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know how look, I'm glad we did it. Good job, Dave. We got Trump elected. We got the people in that we need. I texted Dave. I was like, dude, America's back. Because Elon ain't having it, dude. He's really not having it. And I'm not saying I trust Elon all the way. And I think he might run for president eventually to help get his shit to Mars. But because maybe that's the only way he actually sees the way forward is him being able to make the laws to put his rovers on. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't doubt Elon do that. But I think we actually have a shot. Now, maybe not in, everything's federalized and statewide, so it's different. But we actually have a fucking shot. And to see a bill go from thousands of pages to a few hundred, that never has happened. Never. Like, it's historical. What Trump did was unfucking fucking believable. You've never in my life have I been following politics that they cut a bill down and removed pork barrel legislation. I was told about pork barrel legislation in 12th grade pig class. That's how ubiquitous it was in the fucking political spectrum. They taught high schoolers about how they just stuff bullshit into bills and pass it along so everybody gets what they want. No, they were like, no, fuck this. If it's not needed, it's not needed. And it's just, we're back. We might actually be back. You might actually have a chance to have a family again. You might actually have a chance to have a real job again. Imagine if we do this at every level of our sector of society, David. I'm almost out of here. I know it's been a long one, so I appreciate everybody. But Dave and I were actually talking about how the turn on the podcast might actually be like a daily show, and it would probably cut down some of this, and it wouldn't be so long, but it would also just get more content out for you guys to enjoy as always. But more than anything, David, I think the summary for this week is just like, be careful who you let into your life, and be very cognizant of the way that is going forward. You know, we're all rolling downhill. I don't want none of us to get hung up. I've gone through a couple snares the last few months here, and I'm trying to go through like a little mini rebuild myself. And I've just been putting faith in myself and God, and I don't always have the most faith in myself. And I said that I was a real piece of shit the other day, so I'm trying to. I didn't do anything bad, David, but I mean, piece of shit, just the mental game you have with yourself. So. But more than anything, David, I appreciate you for your time, for your support, for you standing next to me. And yeah, just allowing us. And, you know, I have you in my phone as the #1 producer for 5 years now. And I just can't wait to see the mountains we climb together, because this may be the greatest relationship I've ever formed in my life. So more than anything, David, I love you. I appreciate you. And for everybody else for tuning in tonight. For Dave Ryan, December 17th, 73. Catch us on Rumble for the greatest podcast in all of human history. As always, David, I appreciate you most for your time, and I'll see everybody soon.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, man. Go Bills. I got scared there. I was a little scared.